skateboarding's kind of dangerous. Any injuries?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah. That's all right. I broke wrists. I chipped my pelvis. I got stitches. I rolled my ankles innumerable times. It just goes with it. You just got to do it.
Please welcome Jason Lee. Once again, it's so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Monroeville. Let's go Monroeville, PA.
Have you been here before?
Never. But I like it, though. I like it so far. From what I've seen, the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a highlight.
For having me.
Do you do many Comic-Cons?
I just started doing these last year.
Let me get
Is that not on?
I'll get you a little more volume.
Hello. In a world, one man.
You good?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I started doing these last year, and they're super fun. It's a cool way to hear stories and meet people, and I like it. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to ask you just some general stuff.
Yep.
Like, how'd you get into acting?
Oh, that's a good question. I loved movies. I was skateboarding still at the time, but I was really strongly interested in movie making and was curious about it. And I started auditioning for stuff. And somehow, I started getting work, and that was that. Yeah, I just really liked movies a lot.
Well, what about the skateboarding? How did that all come about?
Well, I got a skateboard when I was a kid, like a lot of kids do. I got like a little plastic department store skateboard in the 70s. My brother had seen some kids down the street skating in an empty pool. And he was like, you got to come and see this. And then we were just hooked on skateboarding. And we got little toy skateboards that my mom got us. And we rolled around on them. And then I got another skateboard a few years later. And then started skating more passionately every day when I was about a freshman or senior or a sophomore in high school. Yeah, it started from there in California.
We have some water for you there if you get thirsty.
Oh, thanks a lot.
But I got to ask you, I mean, skateboarding's kind of dangerous. Any injuries?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah. That's all right. I broke wrists. I chipped my pelvis. I got stitches. I rolled my ankles innumerable times. It just goes with it. You just got to do it.
Do you wear much protective padding, or you just kind of...
Not really, no. Mm-mm. Nope.
So,
I mean, obviously you're wearing pads and helmets and stuff when you're skating the big ramps and stuff like that, but just street skating, not really, no.
And you've been involved with like some of the more famous skateboarders too, I believe, right?
Yeah, I was around in those days where, when it was like Tony Hawk and Mark Gonzalez and the Bones Brigade guys, and it was a really good time. The late 80s going into the 90s was a really important period in skateboarding. It was a really, really important transitional period in skating when it started really started advancing.
Do you have a favorite trick that you, skating trick? Or
I just like to do kick flips and 360 flips and stuff like that. If anybody knows what skateboarding is out there, I don't know, but it's just fun stuff to do on a skateboard, where you flip the board around and stuff.
Do you have any YouTube videos of that?
Yeah, there's stuff on YouTube, I think, of me skating from clips from the older videos that I was in back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're also involved in photography.
Yeah, I've been a photographer for over 20 years now, and that's another passion of mine, and I dedicate a lot of my time to that and traveling and publishing books and exhibiting and stuff like that. Yeah. Just try to stay busy.
So, like digital photography, or are you actually a film guy?
I'm still a film shooter, because that's what I started with, and that's just all I've kind of known. And so I still use film.
So, like with the resurgence in film again, it's easier to get black and white film. For a while, it was really hard.
Thankfully, film has gotten popular again, and Kodak is doing well with selling film again, and Ilford and other manufacturers. But there was a time where it was a little bit at a lull because digital had taken over. But film is very popular again, and so thankfully it's easy to come by again.
Any exhibitions of your photography or a book you put out?
Yeah, I have a new book out now, actually, with a publisher called Stanley Barker out of the UK. And I just went over to London, and I had an exhibition over in London. So I was there in May for the opening of that. So yeah, I'm always busy making books, traveling and doing exhibitions and stuff.
What kind of photography do you like to do? I mean,
It's a lot of landscape kind of, photography.
did you get any of Monroeville?
No, I've only seen the parking lot so far. Yeah.
So photography, skateboarding, how do you merge those together? Like,
I mean, everything honestly came from skateboarding. Like, it's such a creative field, and we were making skate videos back in the day, and that sort of planted a seed for getting into photography later, and then just being around skaters, you're exposed to a lot in terms of film and music and culture, and you travel a lot, you see other countries, and you're sort of fortunate to be able to do that, and that kind of opens you up to a lot of worlds, and acting just kind of seemed like movie making just seemed interesting to me. I was really interested in the arts and the visual arts, and movie making and photography and filmmaking and stuff like that was just sort of there for me. And a lot of those seeds get planted in skateboarding. You find that a lot of skateboarders are designers, musicians, actors, filmmakers, photographers, painters. Skateboarding really sort of breeds a lot of creativity, which is very cool. And so I owe skateboarding everything, in terms of like it kind of starting me in acting and photography and stuff like that.
What kind of music do you listen to when you skateboard? Or is there like a skateboarding genre?
There's not really a skateboarding genre. I mean, everything it just kind of depends. Punk rock, everything from like punk rock music to jazz music, or whatever. I mean, it depends on what your vibe is, but it all kind of goes with skateboarding, which is kind of interesting.
But do you listen to music while you're skateboarding?
No, but like when when you're scoring a video, you put music, just like when you're editing any kind of film, you're putting music to it, and we tend to put a lot of in our videos. We've played alternative music to jazz music to and it all goes really nicely with skating. It depends on the energy of the footage, what the skating looks like, what kind of skating it is, how it's photographed. I mean, the creative process of making skate videos is really cool, really involved. Yeah.
Speaking of video, how did you get involved with the Sonic Youth music video?
Tamara Davis was directing a Sonic Youth video, and Spike Jonze had been hired by her to shoot all the 16 millimeter black and white skate footage. So there's sort of like flashbacks, and that was all captured on 16 millimeter film by Spike Jonze of skateboarding. So I was still I was only like 21. I was still a young pro skater, and because of Spike, I was in this Sonic Youth video.
Were you familiar with their music?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Sonic Youth.
Any
Good
Sonic
band.
Youth fans?
Good band, yeah. Yeah, all right.
So what started you in the acting career, though? I mean, there's so many interests. How do you funnel that all together?
I think you just, trick yourself into believing that you might be able to do it. I think if you're passionate about something, you find a way. I mean, that's really kind of, it doesn't matter what the profession is, what the gig is. If you're passionate enough about something and it kind of keeps you up at night, even just the curiosity of it, you'll find a way to sort of make it happen,
Your wife, is she a photographer? She's a photographer too, is she?
No.
No, she's not? Okay, I thought that, well.
No, she's a porn star.
Oh.
I'm kidding. She retired.
So just a general question about music. I mean,
Yeah.
what is your daily playlist? Do you listen to music just during the day?
I mean, most people listen to music pretty much all the time, every day. Man, I'm always listening to music. I watch movies a lot too when I'm in my office working on books and stuff like that. I'm either playing music or watching movies on repeat.
But as far as say you have a Spotify, is there a go-to song that you would say is the theme song to your life soundtrack?
That's a really good question. I mean, honestly, sometimes the jazz station's on a lot at the house, which is 88.1 for us in LA. Everything from jazz to more modern music, folk music, older music. I kind of listen to everything except for like Justin Bieber or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a popular thing to listen to, but yeah.
Do you make any music or have the desire to do that?
I play a little guitar.
About that big?
Yeah, I play a little guitar. I know some chords.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you write any music or just kind of fiddle around?
No, but I noodle around on the guitar. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're traveling, do you bring your skateboard or your guitar or anything to keep you busy or your photography stuff?
Normally when I'm out on the road with the cameras, it's just the cameras and traveling and shooting and then the skating usually takes place on the weekends at home and stuff with the kids and with friends and stuff. Parking lot sessions.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, a favorite vacation place you head to for photography, or is it just
vacation? I don't know. That's a good question. Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay. Making it hard. What was your last vacation then?
My last vacation, I guess that would have been when I went over to London for that exhibition. Even though I was quite jet lagged, it was nice to be there. My first time going to London was about 1990. I think we went over there on a skate trip and ended up getting a bunch of footage over there that we used in a video that came out in 1991. So it was, yeah, it's always nice to go over there and sort of overseas and, having gone over there originally for skateboarding and then to later return for something else is kind of nice too,
Do you have any like a gallery of your photography online for folks to see?
Just my website, jasonleefilm.com. Yeah, I have some stuff up there.
When you say Jason Lee Film, you actually are making film too?
No, well, I don't know because somebody else has jasonlee.com.
And you didn't want .net.
And I've tried to track them down and they're nowhere to be found. So obviously doing some Comic-Cons, you run into a lot of other celebrities. Is there anyone you ever really kind of geeked out over? Ralph Macchio. I got excited to see Ralph Macchio.
He was here.
The Cobra Kai guys. That was kind of cool. And my kids made me make a video with them, 'cause they don't care about me. They just care about the Cobra Kai guys. So that was pretty cool. I saw the Vacation. I saw the Vacation folks, Chevy Chase and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who else? I saw C-3PO.
Anthony Daniels.
I saw those R2-D2 robot things that are like $30,000. I tripped out on that. That was cool to see. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your acting. Your style seems to be really natural. How much of yourself do you actually put into your roles when you research anything?
Well, I guess it just depends, I mean, that's a really good question. I think it just depends on the material. And, with something like Earl, obviously there's a more sort of organic, spontaneous, playful... Oh, I can't talk about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, it depends on...
that thing.
Yeah, it depends on the project and what the material is and the character and stuff. It depends on, that stuff in terms of what depths you need to go to get everything figured out. But of course, there's always a process in figuring out character and stuff like that. Yeah.
When you're reading a script for the first time, do you actually think, I can embellish this like this, or you just kind of think this is the way it's written? Can you actually have any? Again, that
depends on the people involved, the writers, the directors, and all of that kind of stuff, just in terms of what they are comfortable with. But you're always going to work to put your sort of spin on it, or your reality, your understanding of it, and that might differ in some ways to the directors, and so it just it becomes a collaborative effort. You know what I mean? Like how you sort of figure things out together, and that's a really fun process. Sometimes you're off the mark, sometimes you're on, sometimes things get changed, but it all comes down to sort of like that process of trying to figure out what feels right, what doesn't feel right, what feels natural, what doesn't feel natural.
You ever think
it's a fun process?
Yeah.
It really is, because you're having to sort of dissect and research and figure out and try something one way and it doesn't feel right, so you try it again. That whole creative process, it's sort of like problem solving. You're trying to sort out what feels the truest, the most real, whether it's comedy or drama, something lighthearted or something more serious, the process is kind of the same. Mm-hmm. You want to feel believable, you want to feel real, and you want it to come off as true and believable. And finding those places is why it's so fun to act, because you get to do a lot of problem solving like that.
Any desire to be behind the camera, writing or directing?
Maybe, you know.
Is it in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, directing would be fun for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Any directors that you're particularly fond of? That not anything you've made or worked with.
Names, can I? All of them.
All of them. I like that.
Yeah,
they're all pretty amazing. What else? Anything outside? Let me turn things around. You've done some of these Comic-Cons. Is there anything anybody you've always wanted somebody to ask you but they haven't? Something that you really want to just talk about?
About cons?
About you.
No.
About cons then. Funniest fan encounter.
Funniest fan encounter. Funniest fan.
I think it just happened.
That's a good one. And with that costume on makes it even better. That's amazing. Wow, that's very cool. I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't know.
It'll come to you at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it will.
Do you read much?
Do I breathe much?
Read. Breathe.
I hope I breathe.
Do both
much.
of those at the same time.
Am I alive?
You're alive.
Am I alive right now? Is this a weird dream right now? Huh?
I was just asking what you currently read, or do you read novels, books, magazines, articles?
Yeah, I read. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Comic books. Did you grow up reading comic books and was like a kid like that?
You know what? I did not grow up reading comic books. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I grew up, but I did grow up watching The Amazing Spider-Man each morning before school. And, I was my brother and I, we were into like skating and BMX bikes, and we loved, like the Dukes of Hazzard and Chips and like shows like that and The Amazing Spider-Man and stuff. But in terms of like comic books, I kind of just did whatever my older brother was doing, and he didn't ever have comic books around. So
did he get you into skating?
My brother got me into skating. And he's responsible for having, talking our mom into getting us those first boards. So that was super cool. My older brother was super cool. Nice. And so I looked up to him, and he was he was super into punk rock music and stuff. So he exposed us all to some cool stuff.
Did you ever go to very many punk rock shows and see live music?
He went to there were a lot of cool punk rock shows, and we were from Orange County.
Exactly.
And so he saw a lot of cool stuff out there. But yeah, I saw some good early shows, but not as much punk rock stuff as he saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you could just kind of get one genre, say if you could hear a song right now, would it be punk rock? Would it be jazz? I mean, I'm trying to get a read on.
Oh man, it's all over the place.
I
think it's good to be in that way, because I can kind of just, I'm into all of it really. I recently discovered. Are there any Radiohead fans here?
Oh yeah.
I recently discovered that In Rainbows, which came out 10 years after OK Computer, though the second record is meant to be played alternatively to OK Computer, if anybody's interested in that. So basically, you create a playlist, you play the first song from OK Computer, the second track is the first track from In Rainbows, and it alternates like that. There's 2 back-to-back songs from OK Computer, because there's 12 tracks on OK Computer and 10 tracks on In Rainbows, and then it alternates again, and it makes one complete record. And it's pretty extraordinary if anybody's a Radiohead fan. That was a recent discovery that I thought was really cool. Anyway.
Okay, so I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about technology and AI.
Yep.
I was kind of curious if you think that it's kind of completely justified. People, are they overreacting? Is AI really a threat to actors and writers?
Absolutely, it's a threat, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think people want to sort of resort to AI for work, for creative ideas.
So
sort of leave humans out of it, right?
is there any way you think that could be melded together? I mean, it certainly seems like it's so hard to fight technology.
We've done pretty well thus far, right?
Yeah.
I think with photography, with filmmaking, with music, I think we've done pretty well as a species so far, right? Without AI. So I don't know. I mean, I like the idea that, you think about all the amazing movies and records that have been made over the years just with human imagination. I think that's pretty much all we really need for art, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So with the actors' strike going on, do you have any idea how the general public can kind of help end this? I mean, we kind of feel like we're held hostage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the idea, is to hold off and get people to want to maybe change their minds. So you do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
So as far as like social media, at least get out there and try and support the strike the best you can. I know some people are actually sending money out to unions for, like you, exactly, sending money to the picket lines.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Appreciate that. Very nice. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you.
There you go. So hopefully, like I'm saying, the end is in sight on this. It's probably like on day 100. It's been a while.
Hopefully there's a nice reset, you know what I mean? And everybody can kind of like get some things figured out that have been kind of hanging around for a while, in terms of like residuals and all that kind of stuff, and just other little things. And of course the big AI thing, I think I'm hoping that it will have been a nice reset and new perspective and stuff. And then everybody sort of gets a fresh start moving forward. That's sort of the idea that you were hoping for.
Kind of like COVID, just hitting a restart on it.
Hitting a restart, and everybody sort of resolves everything, and there's a nice reset. Everybody can get back to work with some new breath,
That is really a great way to look at that.
Yeah.
Another quick question. Is there any be living or dead, any celebrity you would like to meet or someone that influenced you into getting into acting?
Well, one of the reasons I got into acting was Steve Buscemi.
Whoa!
Just seeing him in early films, just being just kind of a strange character.
The Jim Jarmusch stuff, right?
And the Coen Brothers stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then really being inspired by him, and just like the possibility of doing some strange, fun, creative things, and just having an innocent kind of curiosity about what that means.
Have you ever met him?
Not once, no. But yeah. Buscemi was an early influence.
Just what about his style? What about what he does? What gets you?
Just I'm not going to name a project.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not trying to trick you.
Yeah, just if you've seen, I mean,
stuff.
I was just kind of drawn. I was drawn to that world a lot. That sort of the Coen Brothers thing was a big sort of inspiration for me. Yeah, it's just for me. I just think he's one of the actors that almost breaks like a fourth wall in acting. You almost put yourself in there with him. He's as odd looks, but he's so identifiable.
He's amazing.
Yeah. And he actually started, I think he was a firefighter before all this too.
Yep. Yeah, he's one, and somebody that I would have really liked to have met was Harry Dean Stanton.
Wow.
Who's my favorite actor of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from how natural he was, or just how offbeat he was?
It's funny because you watch actors, and the really, really good ones, you can tell that they absolutely have no idea that there's a camera around them. And Harry Dean Stanton is one of those actors where when you're watching their movies, they're literally in it so deeply that it doesn't feel at all like they're on a set or that they're being filmed. They're just really, it's so real and so natural, so organic and relaxed. Harry Dean Stanton is one of those actors. If you've seen his work, Tommy Lee Jones is another one of those actors who's so good that you can't sense that he's aware of what's happening. He's just that person.
See, Robert Mitchum always did that for me.
Tommy Lee Jones is one of my favorite actors for sure. Yeah.
So as far as the future goes, I know we can't talk about anything,
Yep.
but as far as something general, were you looking to get, once you get back in the saddle, more comedy, more
I was
drama?
working on something that was dark comedy and very enjoyable. And then everything, of course, is on hold. So we'll revisit that, hopefully,
Great.
Yeah.
Any message for the audience? We're going to kind of wrap things up
I
here.
just want to say thank you guys for coming out and welcoming me here to lovely Monroeville, Pennsylvania. That's so awesome that you guys came to sit here. That's amazing. I really appreciate it. I just looked over and I'm seeing a Grinch just staring at me, just so mean. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. That's amazing.
So you're headed back to your table to sign, and
Yep.
you got a photo op coming up, all that stuff?
Yep, I'm hanging around. Thank you guys again, and I hope to say hi to you a little later over there.
You're in the he's in there. You're straight across. So
I'm
he's
in Hall D.
Hall D, which is right over there. Well, once again,
Thank
please
you guys
welcome,
so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you so much, Jason. Have a good one.
Take the water with you. Oh, yeah, thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. Give it up one more time, Jason Lee.
So, what are we going to do tonight, Brain?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Watch Fandom Spotlite videos and then take over the world.
Hey, God, that's great! And maybe we should tell them all to have fun?
And follow their fandom. Then bow before my genius.